guys, welcome back to the Bitcoin Bunker. I'm your host, Satoshi Down Under. Apologies, it's been a couple of days, I think nearly a week since I've had a video up. I did do a video a few days ago and decided I'll try and condense it a little bit, but I'm going to talk about the same subject tonight, which is why do people miss Bitcoin? I think by now, 2026, everyone knows they've heard of Bitcoin. I wouldn't say they know what it is, but everyone's heard of Bitcoin. They know it started off as, this obscure thing, and the price was in the single digits or the low 100s, maybe $1,000 when people first heard of it. Many ignored it, and now it's had a recent high of 126,000 USD, currently sitting on 70,000. So we've had a little bit of a bounce in the last couple of weeks from the massive sell-off, the 50% discount that I keep saying. Bitcoin's not going to zero, guys. It's having a breather and it's going to take off again. So if you're looking for an entry, now's as good a time as any. But like I say, dollar cost average, buy the same amount every fortnight. If you think that the market's getting hot and euphoric, then maybe you want to bank that and wait for a pullback like this, one of these 50% discounts. But even with this discount, this 50% off, the psychology of no coiners, basically there's a meme going around, it's been going around for years, with a guy saying, oh my God, Bitcoin's at 56,000, whatever, 100,000, why didn't I buy it? Then the next slide he goes, oh, Bitcoin's at 60,000, thank God I didn't buy that shit. And then of course, Bitcoin at 100,000 again, and he's saying, oh, I'm an idiot, why didn't I buy it? And really that simple meme explains the psychology of a lot of people around Bitcoin. When you go to the Boxing Day sales or whatever, Black Friday sales, your brain knows that to buy a t-shirt or whatever, 30% off, 50% off, it's a good deal. When it comes to investing, the opposite is usually true, not just for Bitcoin, but for shares in general. People tend to not like buying something when it's down and when it's down significantly. And I think it's because they can't see that it's just par for the course. And it's just, actually the opposite is the absolute best buying opportunity. But because it's money, investing, people don't like losing money. They'll happily throw their money away on junk food or bags they don't need, fancy Rolex watches, because they get something. But investing psychology is kind of a little bit different, because they kind of look at investing like gambling. And so they think once they've put the money in, if they've lost 50%, then, they're having this freak out, right? Because they essentially don't have anything. I mean, they've got the shares, they've got the Bitcoin, but psychologically, they feel like they've had something taken away from them. So I think one of the main things that keeps people away from Bitcoin is, the volatility of it. And really, you should be looking at Bitcoin and thinking the volatility is good, and it's good for everybody because it gives everyone a chance to get in, and a chance to get in at reasonable prices. Now, if we zoom out, we can see that all Bitcoin's done, regardless of the pullbacks, is continue to go up and to the right. So if it went up and to the right, like on this straight line, and never had a pullback, it's never giving anyone an opportunity to A, take profits, the ones that got in early, or new people to enter the market. So you've got to look at these pullbacks as a healthy thing. You don't want something going up in a straight line. And equally, you've got to understand that people that get in earlier, they've probably reached their sell targets and they've taken some off the table. So, 100K US was a big milestone that I'm sure a lot of early Bitcoiners had in their mind as a place to sell. But what that means is that gives us, the newer people, the opportunity to start buying in, right? And if you project this, if you project this chart out, we can do this like ghost pattern thing. We'll do it here. You could have been on this phenomenal run here. You've just got to project yourself out and go, okay, well, and I'm not saying this is an exact science, but if you got in here and you saw this gain 680%, it's understandable that you may take some off the table. Now, we understand the fundamentals of Bitcoin now, and we understand why it's going up forever. It's its finite supply, hard capped at 21 million, and it's neutral money. So, you just have to look at you on your investing journey, forget about the people that got in before you, and look at what's going to happen for you if you hold for 2 years, 4 years. I recommend a 4-year minimum. And these 600% gains are well within reach for you. Now, it may not happen exactly like this in the next 2 years, but I think in the next 4 years, we could easily see a 6x. So you have to say to yourself, well, all right, 6x is bloody brilliant compared to leaving my money in the bank. Is it going to outperform other things? I would say it's proven that it has over the long term. Forget about, gold's recent run and the fact that gold had 12 years of doing nothing. But it's beating everything else. And on top of that, like I keep saying, it's not an investment. So it will get you rich, it will get you wealthy, but more importantly than that, Bitcoin is freedom technology, right? So Bitcoin is neutral money. And this leads to the other point of why I think so many people overlook Bitcoin, including close friends and family of mine who I've tried to orange pill over the last decade nearly. I would say over the last 8 years at least. They look at it like an investment. So when you look at something like an investment and you think that's all there is to it, and you don't want to do the work and the research to understand money and to understand the need for a neutral money, not controlled and issued by central banks, if you don't look at that and recognize that, you will look at Bitcoin because it has a chart priced in US dollars or Aussie dollars. And you will look at that and just think, oh, it's just an investment. It's just like, Satoshi, you're into Bitcoin, but, I'm into small cap mining stocks or whatever. I'm into real estate investing. So I think the big thing that people are missing with Bitcoin is this is a new monetary protocol that will eliminate central banks, will eventually be used by everybody, and will eventually be priced not in dollars, because dollars will be gone, and will simply be priced in Satoshis or BTC. So we have a meme in the community that says 1 BTC equals 1 BTC. And what we're saying when we say that is we're saying Bitcoin is the unit of account. And that's why I say we don't care about price. Like, it's good to see, your net worth go up because of your Bitcoin holdings. But once you go deeper and you understand that this is the new unit of account, then 1 BTC does equal 1 BTC, or 1 Satoshi does equal 1 Satoshi. So it's a very hard thing for people to wrap their heads around. And I think a lot of the mistake is investors believing that it's just another investment. And then, the whole digital side of it freaks a lot of people out. The whole tech side that they've bought into this, what if the power goes out, it's going to evaporate. Never mind the dollars in your bank account are going to evaporate as well. But, this sort of scares them off. I think the tech aspect scares them off. And the fact that they've never stopped to actually understand what is money, where does it actually come from, the current money that we use, fiat money. And therefore, when they miss that, then they completely miss the point of having a neutral money that is issued through code and proof of work, rather than the whims of the Fed chair, the International Bank or Bank of International Settlements, the IMF, all of these other corrupt agencies. So they completely miss the point of what Bitcoin is actually, proposing as an alternative to fiat currency. So, it's a shame really, because I've tried to orange pill people for a long time, and they hear the words coming out of your mouth, but they don't actually then walk away and try to kind of reflect on what you're saying and dig deeper into it themselves. So I think there are a couple of the key reasons. It's actually a bit of a shame that Bitcoin is priced in fiat currency, because it's very misleading, and it just makes people think it's an investment. So the last thing I want to touch on is they're probably the two biggest reasons. Also, I think there's kind of a little bit of ego. Bitcoin really humbles you. The more you learn about it, the more you realize there is to learn about it, and the very little you understand. So, if you've got a big ego and you're trying to understand Bitcoin, leave your ego at the door, because it will completely strip you down, and you won't begin to understand Bitcoin unless you leave your ego at the door. So, talking on money and fiat currency, the last thing I want to do is just recommend this book, The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. I should look up when this book was initially published, but it was a long time ago. And it's a long book. I tend to listen to books on Audible or something like that, just so I can listen to it when I'm in the gym or on my way to work or whatever. I find I get more time to listen to things than to actually read. But great book about the formation of the US Federal Reserve and the bankers that were involved in that, and Woodrow Wilson, the President of the United States at the time, and the formation of this non-government money printing regime, basically, that we all live under right now. So super good book for understanding the money, because I think you really need to understand the system you're in to be able to understand the system that is competing against that, which is Bitcoin, of course. So if you want to look into money, how money is created right now, how the Federal Reserve came to be, the fact that they're not a government agency, even though they look like it, they've been very clever, putting the eagle on there and little crest and using the word federal and reserve and making out like this is some official government-backed thing, when actually it's not. And this is for the US Federal Reserve. And of course, we know that the US dollar is the dominant fiat currency. So therefore, all other currencies, no matter which country you live in, are subordinate to that. So they all follow the same model. There's other organisations. I'll probably mention a book each episode just to add to your reading list, all the books that helped me along my journey into Bitcoin and into understanding money. But there's the Federal Reserve, there's the Bank of International Settlements, there's the IMF. All of these organisations are basically involved in creating the money or lending money to third world countries and indebting them. And, it's all a big club. We're not in it, but fortunately we can opt out by buying Bitcoin. and holding it in self-custody, of course. So grab that book if you haven't already read it. Bloody good read, and we'll start to give you a bit more of a background on where the fiat system kind of is, how it came to be, and maybe I think then that will start allowing you to understand the premise of Bitcoin. Look, we all want Bitcoin to go up. We're putting money into it, and we're getting wealthy as we do it, which is great. But ultimately, the main mission is to become sovereign, so that we aren't under control of any other individual that can print the money and inflate away our purchasing power, leading to us all working a lot harder and funding forever wars. We've got a new war kicking off now. Doesn't matter what side you're on, right? All wars are bankers' wars, and I don't care whether you're on the Trump-Israel team or you're on the Iranian team. This is just what happens throughout history. Countries go to war. Usually it's bankers funding both sides, and lots of innocent people die. And then, they reset things, and, it's the common man and woman that suffer. So Bitcoin is the opt-out. It's basically the middle finger to that system. It's went on a bit of a tangent there. I guess the premise of the video was just basically, why do your friends miss Bitcoin? Why does everyone miss Bitcoin? Firstly, they think of it as investment, and secondly, they don't understand the money. So stop thinking of it like an investment, even though it's reflected in a dollar price, and start studying the money. And I think you'll be well on your way to understanding Bitcoin. So till the next one, keep stacking sats and stay humble, leave the ego at the door, and keep studying.